Welcome to the 124th episode of the So Video Games podcast, where we talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. If we are playing it, we will be talking about it. Today we are recording on March 25th, 2019. My name is Brad Galloway, and I am the editor of GameCritics.com. I'm also 50% of this here show. With me, as always, Corey Motley, staff writer at Game Critics. How you doing, Corey?
I'm doing well, Brad. I have to be completely honest with you right now. I am going to be painting my nails through our entire recording today, but I want you to know this activity will not detract from my enthusiasm and discussion that I will bring to the show today.
Well, there's only one question that leads me to, and of course it is, what color are you painting?
Oh, I'm painting them. Let me give you the exact color name. It is Sally Hansen's Argan Oil Formula, which I bought at Target. The color is 460, which is called Oceans Away. And it's kind of like a medium kind of gray that's kind of bluey, very slightly lilac-y, but mostly a blue-gray, like a medium blue-gray.
All right. Are you doing your toes as well, or is that just a hands-only thing?
Never. Always hands. That's it.
Okay. Interesting. Is there a reason that you don't ever do your toes?
I just always wear shoes. I don't know. I don't
It's
know.
interesting you say that, because I was working with a guy, tough guy, real guy, in shape, straight. I've met his girlfriend, or at least, straight presenting, who knows. Seemed like kind of a man's man kind of a guy. And it was in a theater context, so he was changing his clothes, and I was in the dressing room with some other actors. And I was quite surprised to see that this man's man tough guy, when he took his shoes off, he had bright red toenails that were hidden inside of his manly gruff work boots. And I'm like, did not see that coming. I mean, no judgment. It's all good, but kind of caught me by surprise. But here's you. You're the opposite. All hands, no feet.
Yeah, well, the thing that I think is kind of fascinating about, like, nail painting in general is, like, I mean, a lot of people, would think of nail painting as, like, a feminine activity, which, I mean, I guess it is because, like, I would go out on a limb and say that probably a lot more women paint their nails than men, or a lot more female-presenting people or feminine people or whatever you want to call it paint their nails than male-presenting people. However, I mean, I don't know a lot of people that paint their nails, a lot of men that paint their nails or male-presenting people that paint their nails, but almost all of the men I know who paint their nails are like, they're like hardcore, like punk rock, like straight edge. They're like in a band. They play bass in a screamo band or something. So it's weird how, like, or maybe it's not weird. I shouldn't say it's weird. It's just interesting to me how, like, nail painting got kind of co-opted by, like, the hardcore, like, punk rock scene. And then here I am. I mean, I do have, like, a mohawk and I am painting my nails, but I wouldn't really consider myself, like, super punk rock or anything. I mean, I can play drums, I can sing, but I'm not in a band. But it's just like, so that thing happens where it's like you have these, like, kind of like hardcore, like, straight edge, like, manly, muscular men who, like, have their nails painted black because it's sort of that weird, like, co-oping of, I guess, like, punk rock culture or something like that. It's weird how, like, communities take things that don't belong to them and then reappropriate it for what they want it to be rather than, like, what it was in the first place, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I know exactly what you're talking about. And that makes sense. It's part of a look, or you're in a band or something, or you are going for a certain kind of vibe or something. That makes sense. I guess I agree. I think everything you said is true. I'm just trying to square it with this one guy where I'm like, I just don't understand why he had these, like, little candy apple red toesies, and they were very cute little, well done. I don't know. I'll have to ask him about it in a very, like, I don't know, non-threatening and non-judgmental way or something. But anyway,
surely I would like to think that if his toenails are painted bright red, that he would be, like, willing to talk about it if somebody asked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if he didn't want to talk about it, he wouldn't have them painted that bright of a color. I might be wrong about that, but it's not something you do and then just play it cool discreetly, or, get offended if somebody asks. So surely if you were in a context with him or you asked him, he would be cool with explaining whatever it was going on.
You are probably correct. I will just I will have to ask him when other people are around and hope he doesn't punch me in the nose, and we'll see what happens. So anyway, we're getting way off topic. This is something better discussed in banter, and folks, we have some banter for you today. Not the usual banter. We don't talk about TV or movies. We talk about some pretty random stuff. I won't spoil it here, but if you do want more from us, remember that our usual banter section comes after the end of the game portion of the show. So listen to the games now, wait for the closing music, and if you want some more random nonsense, keep listening. Also, before we forge ahead with today's game topics, do want to give you a very big spoiler warning. Excuse me. Also, I'll give you a cough. That's free. The spoiler warning is for The Occupation. Corey mentioned it in a brief sense last week, and I'm assuming he's back with in-depth spoilage from front to back because you probably have finished it. Is that correct?
It's true. Not only have I finished it, I have started again, so I'm back with more info.
Okay, so this is a perfect time to give a initial spoiler warning. So please, we will keep the spoiler stuff to the very end of the show, so feel free to listen to our first couple of game topics with no spoilers whatsoever. And then when we get to the final topic of The Occupation, we will give you one more spoiler warning, and we will let you know, turn off your sound, stop the recording, and do not spoil yourself. If you do not want to be, if you don't care, then please feel free to listen on, and we will just proceed as normal. So I think that's probably it for now. I don't have any housekeeping. Do you have any housekeeping, Corey?
The only housekeeping addition I have is that as always, the show notes will contain the timestamps for everything we talk about, and also when the spoiler section starts and when it ends. So if you do want to skip that part and come back for the closing and the banter and all that stuff, you can just check the show notes, and I always put in there when the spoiler section ends, when we start closing out the show, and then when the banter starts. So you can refer to that as well.
Excellent. All right, we do our best to not spoil, so hopefully that'll be fine for everybody. And I say let's go ahead with the actual game discussion. You ready, sir?
I am ready.
All right, we didn't necessarily choose who was going to lead off, but I think I will turn the floor over to you if that's okay. We have been playing a little bit of the Division 2, coming from Ubisoft. It is their open world, vaguely post-apocalyptic, sort of military-ish, Tom Clancy-ish shooter, where it's meant to be a multiplayer experience. You and I and my wife finally got our schedules in sync. We got to play some yesterday. Hopefully we'll play some again this afternoon. We have spoken about the original Division many times on the show. It's one of our most often referenced group games that we played together in the past. Happy to dive in again, and we got some time in, so let's talk about that a little bit. Corey, would you like to start us off?
Sure. I will take the wheel here. I feel responsible in taking the wheel here because technically I'm reviewing this for Game Critics. I hope that Ubisoft is not just refreshing Game Critics every 5 minutes waiting for this review to go live, because honestly, I want to play kind of the whole thing with you guys before I review it. Because here, and to be completely frank, and I was telling Patrick this yesterday, I think I'm actually going to have a pretty hard time reviewing this game because there's a big crux that comes with this game. So the Division, like you said, it's kind of an open world squad tactical shooter, very similar to the first game, alarmingly. There are sequels that completely take games in a different direction. There are sequels that use the original game as just a jumping off point to do something new. There are sequels that change the art style of a game but leave sort of the gameplay intact. And then there are sequels that basically just give you more of what came before. And The Division 2 is the last one. It's not really super innovative that I have seen so far from the original one, which is kind of it's kind of good, but it's also kind of bad. Because it's nice to have more of the same, but it's also just more of the same. But my problem, or my issue with The Division, and we can talk about this as we get into the weeds a little bit, is so you and I played some of the beta together and had a pretty good time. And then whenever you start The Division 2, if for anybody that played the beta who hasn't played the real game yet, basically the beginning of the beta is the beginning of the game. Like there's like one like short prequel mission, and then you start where the beta starts, where you're kind of like going back to the White House and fighting your way up the White House lawn to take over the White House, and then the White House becomes your first like big base of operations. And I played that by myself, and then I did the first story mission by myself. This was after the beta, and then I did that, and I was like, okay, this is fine, whatever. And then I went back because we were having a hard time kind of syncing our schedules because you and I have both been really busy, and your wife has. And so like last week, I started playing a little bit of it by myself, and I was like, well, I kind of want to, get on this a little bit. I would kind of like to get the review done sooner rather than later. I'm trying to be responsible and everything. So I, boot up the Division, and I start playing it by myself, and I'm like, oh, I'll just knock out some side missions because I want to save the main missions for us to all do together. And I did like one side mission and by myself, and I was like, man, this is just dull. Like it's just like it's so weird. Like I mean, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, so I haven't really had this kind of experience like a lot in the past, but it's like whenever you and Gina and I are all three, we're all squatted up, we're playing together, we're doing missions, we're strategizing. I'm running in like a madman with a shotgun, and you guys have to heal me every 30 seconds because I'm an aggro idiot in that game. That is when I'm having a lot of fun. And I mean, yeah, like it's not anything like super new or super innovative or like, it's not like nothing I've played before. But it's fun just to like squat up with you guys and have a game to play with people because I usually prefer single player story games that I play by myself. I'm not into multiplayer games. I'm super not into competitive multiplayer games, but I do like co-op, and it's fun to play with you guys. So it's like a weird hot and cold thing where like when I'm playing it by myself, it's kind of dull. It's kind of hard. We were having a hard time playing with the three of us together, and like the game, I feel like from my single player experience, and maybe it's just with the side missions and not so much with the story missions, but whenever I was playing side missions by myself, I was having a really hard time, and I was like dying a lot, and then I was just getting frustrated and bored, and I was like, well, I would rather just be playing this with Brad and Gina. Like, this isn't really that much fun by myself. And then whenever I play with you guys, it actually is a lot of fun, and it's still challenging, but it's fun, and we get to like use our skills and use our different weapons, and we all prefer different kinds of weapons, and we all have different like the backpack skills that you use, like the mines and the healing stuff, and we all have different ones, so it's cool to like use those all together and different missions and kind of like strategize in different ways. But it's just a weird experience because by myself, I don't really like the game that much. Like I get it, but it's just not fun to play by myself. And when I play with you guys, it's a lot of fun, but I have to keep thinking about like the fact that it's just like pretty much like a copy paste of the first game in a different setting, and it's fun with you guys, but it's just like not that great. Like in and of itself, it's not that great. Like the fun comes from playing with other people and not really from the game itself, which leaves me in like a tough position as a reviewer to balance that. And I'm sure the more I play, the more we figure it out, my review text will come to me as we play. But right now I just have like a big question mark over my head when I think about what I'm going to do when I have to actually sit down and write all of these thoughts out on paper.
Yeah, man, I hear you 100%. And I mean, I think I was kind of the exact same way with the Division 1. I reviewed the original Division when that came out. And I had like basically the exact same mindset where it was like I was having a lot of fun playing with you and my wife. But I think it's just like a really boring game if you're playing by yourself. Like it just is. Like it's really dull. I think that it might be a little spicier if you're one of the people who likes to group up with randos. Like I haven't done any rando group ups. I did a few with the first Division, and I had a couple good experiences, a couple not good experiences, just doing the PvE story mission stuff, and that was fine. So I guess there's something there if you don't have any friends and I guess just kind of play as like a freelancer or a gun for hire and join up with people and do that. That could be kind of fun possibly. But yeah, I mean, I've often said on the show that if you have a game that requires other people to be fun, then you've got a bad game. And I think that's actually true. I think the Division is a bad game, but it is just the right kind of bad that when you have enough people to play, then it becomes fun, where it's like the moment to moment gameplay is good enough where you're dodging, you're taking cover, you're firing off your special skills. In this case, it's stuff like I'm going more offensive this time around, so I have a little machine gun drone that I can mount on places and it'll shoot at enemies for me. I also have like a flying drone that I can send around the battlefield, and like using those skills is pretty fun. I think it's pretty entertaining. Looking forward to unlocking some other stuff and giving it a shot. But it's like it gives you enough stuff to do, and you have to be engaged at a certain level. Like you can't sleep and play through it because, like you said, we died like a bunch yesterday. Even like in the starting zone, where I figured we would just like totally stomp all over the bad guys. Like we ended up like all of us at different times getting killed because we got flanked or because we just weren't looking at how many guys were flooding out of a certain door or whatever. So like even in the beginning zone, it was not that easy. So you have to be engaged. But you're not so engaged that you can't talk about stuff. Like we could do jokes or we could talk about, whatever. But it wasn't like super deep conversation and it wasn't super light gameplay. So I think that the magic of the Division is it hits a kind of a strange middle zone where you're engaged but not too engaged, and you're bored but not too bored, and you're interested but not too interested, and you're just like totally in the middle with all those things. And so it fits that profile perfectly. I would only want to play this in a group. I would never play it by myself, but I really enjoy playing it. Like when we're playing together, like I think it's really fun. But I do think the game does not, I mean, it is like you were totally speaking truth when you say this is like a copy and paste. I mean, I'm sure that the people at Ubisoft would be horrified to hear us say that, but like honestly, I couldn't really tell you the differences between Division 1 and 2, except for some of the skills are different. But that's basically about it. Like, I mean, different setting, but it doesn't really matter because you're still kind of in an urban area, and you're still running through the streets. You still got your backpack and your gun. I mean, it looks the same. Like if you held up 2 screenshots of the Division 1 and 2 side by side, you would not be able to tell which one was which. I mean, literally, like I'm not even joking. Like you wouldn't know. So I think it's just kind of a very odd duck where I think critically, part of me wants to be more hard on it because I think it should be doing better. And like perfect example. I'm a big story guy. I know you also are a big story guy. And in the Division 2, I could not even tell you what the story was. I don't even know who the bad guys are. I don't know who I am. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that there's a bunch of pips on the map and that we need to go shoot anybody that's at those pips. And that is literally what we do. We'll just sit in front of it and we'll just like shoot guys for 2 hours. And I couldn't tell you the name of a single character in this game, dude. I literally could not. If you held a gun to my head right now, I would not be able to produce a single name of anybody. And I think that's terrible storytelling. It's a boring world. It's a boring story. Boring characters.
Yeah, I see. This is like what. I mean, I don't want to pull a whole like woe is me because I get to review video games. Oh my gosh, I feel so sorry for me. But like, whenever you think about like honest like journalistic integrity on reviewing video games, like I would not be like, I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but like I would not be amiss. That's the word I want to use. I would not be amiss to give this game like, I don't know, like a 6 out of 10, which seems low, but that's actually not that low, like in the scheme of scoring. And saying like, yeah, it's fun with groups, but it's not any fun on its own. And there's like no story. There's no like good characters. I mean, the game like tries to have characters, but they're all just like random like Lieutenant Meathead that barks orders at you over your comm like over and over again, and like doesn't really. I mean, it like kind of personalizes them a little bit, but it's still like it's just like not like it just sucks because it's like fun to play in groups, but that's like the only thing it has going for it. Like it's not really that innovative. Story is not really there. The characters are not really there. And also something that really bothers me that I totally forgot to talk about, speaking of characters, is the character creator in this game sucks ass.
It totally sucks. It fucking sucks, dude. It's so bad.
Like okay, oh my God. It's like, what a fucking letdown, because the game is literally, first of all, it's a third-person game, so you are looking at your character all the time. All the time. And yet you get to the character creation screen and there's like some options there. But what pisses me off the most is like, I really liked my character from the Division 1. Like we joke that he's called Agent Asian Corey because I have a male Asian model. And he has this cool like white kind of face paint stuff on his face. And he had like good hair and a good eye color. And he's just like, I just really, because usually I play as women in games, and for some reason I don't know what it was about the Division that I just like found this male character model, and I was like, wow, this guy looks like a fucking badass, and he just like looks really cool. For some reason, that face model is not in the Division 2. So like I was cycling through the face models for the male characters, and I was like, where is my Asian Corey? Like there's a couple of, Asian presenting like variations in, in the character selection screen, but you have like maybe like 20 faces to pick from. I mean, there's like a good number of hair choices, but some of them are kind of lame. The hair colors are weird, and like you don't really have a lot of customization options, and they have like the face paints and like the scars, but what makes me mad about those is you can only choose one of them, and like some of the face paints like would have been cool to have together, because some of them are like, it's kind of like a Batman like black, shadow around the eyes, which I don't have that, but it's kind of a neat thing. And then there's some where it's more like, like jungle war paint, where it's like camo paint on the face, and like I wish that you could have more than one, and I also wish you could have more than one scar, because the facial scars are kind of all over the place. And like there's a big list of like tattoos to pick from, and there's arm tattoos, there's leg tattoos, and there's neck tattoos. And I like the idea of having tattoos on my characters, but the dumb thing is like you go to the arm tattoo menu and you scroll down all the tattoos, and like the game decides which arm it's on and where it's placed. You don't get to like choose the left arm or right arm. You don't get to choose the left leg or right leg. You just like scroll down them, and like some are on the right arm, some are on the left arm, some are like full sleeve tattoos, some are a tiny shoulder tattoo, some where it's just the forearm. And I'm like, I mean, I just wish that they would have done it a little bit better. Like, it makes me mad when I think about something like Saints Row, which like Saints Row has like probably the best character customization options maybe I've like ever experienced in a game. And, it had those good options like decades ago, like Xbox 360 launch title ago.
Totally.
And then we get a game like The Division, and I just like don't like, it's like okay, but I feel like they could have done way better. And like once you finish customizing your character, you can never change them again, which I mean, I understand, it's probably a nightmare to like reconfigure the player once they get in the game or something. There's got to be some like coding reason behind it or something, but like I wish that you could redo some of the stuff on your characters. Like, at least let me change the hair every once in a while, or like add a new scar, or add different face paint. But once you do that, it's over and it's done with, and that's the character you have for the rest of the game. And I just like feel like they really dropped the ball for character customization, especially because it's a third-person shooter. Like, if it were first person, I wouldn't care as much because I don't have to see the character ever. But it's third person. I'm literally looking at the character for the entire game, and the customization options are just super lame for what it is.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball in, like, just the customization and just how you engage with those type of systems, like the cosmetic systems or things that kind of let the player feel a little bit more connected and personalized. I mean, I think the character creator fucking sucks dirty dog ass, dude. It's so bad. I mean, I don't have a lot of special needs when I create a character. I mean, I kind of try to make the same character in every game. I try to make like a lady. I put her on the heavier side if possible. Not very often is that possible, but I try to if possible. Try to make her kind of pale with like black lipstick and black fingernails and like the brightest red hair that they have. Couldn't do like any of that stuff. Like you get like the body type that is just, I mean, it's like the male body type basically with like a female head stuck onto it. Like it's not very different. You can't change like the proportions of the person. All the faces are pretty generic in the middle. None of them are very distinct. And you could not like even do like a vibrant red hair. Like there was like an auburn or like a dirty auburn or something like that. Or there's like a very like, if you look at the bright day and the sun is shining a certain way, like maybe it's a red hair, not really. But it's like I wanted something like super bright and super red. I mean, like it's a fucking video game. Like it can be anything you want. And I'm sorry, I live in fucking Seattle. I see people with purple and blue and green hair every goddamn day. I know it's possible. So the character creator is really fucking disappointing. Like I just have like random generic lady number 27 is my character. Like, and I would not be able to pick her out of a line. I don't feel very attached to her because I don't feel like I was able to really put my mark on her. And I don't feel like she represents me very well in the game. So that's disappointing. The other thing I think is kind of disappointing. Kind of about the customization, kind of not, but kind of about how you engage with the game on a personal level. I really dislike the bases, like the safe houses, and especially the White House. I hate the White House. which serves as your base of operations. I mentioned this when we were playing yesterday. I'm going to expand on it a little bit here. You go to the base, and there's all these like rooms and hallways and stuff in there, and some of it looks like you can interact, and some of it you can, and it's just background stuff, and all the vendors that you need to interact with are kind of like in a weird place, and they're not necessarily very visible. They don't stand out very much, and so I'm walking around, and I constantly feel like I don't know where I'm going. I don't know, like, oh, well, here's the gun vendor, but where's the crafting table? I don't know how to get there from here. I wish it was right here. I wish it was more clearly marked, and I don't like the way that it works. And I think that all of that in this game, like, it's like they try to make it look like it's a real environment. Like, what if somebody was actually trying to survive here? Which is great, and I get that they're world building, et cetera, et cetera. But there's also like a level of playability and UI that you have to hit, and I feel like they fail pretty hard at the UI and just about letting the player know how to interact with the environment and being very familiar with the environment. And further, something that is kind of specific between the versions of the Division. I know you remember this because we talked about it yesterday, but in the first Division, when you get to whatever building it is you're in, state capital or whatever the fuck it was supposed to be, the place was in a shambles. And like there was one room that's supposed to be like an infirmary, one room was like the ops room, one room was like the I don't know, the armory or whatever. Like you had a bunch of rooms. They were all like shitty and dirty and no supplies. And as you played through the campaign of the first Division, you would get supplies and you would recruit people and you would find things. And so you would come back and it would be like, okay, well, I've got like 27 supplies. Which room do I want to put these into? And, how do I want to build up my base? I mean, eventually you would just have the whole thing maxed out. Like it didn't matter really, but it was cool to be able to choose what you wanted to do because each thing gave you a perk. And then you could like decide like, oh, I want to have my medical supplies up to speed. So like you'd put all your supplies into the medical room and like that room would look better because you made it better. And then the rest of the place would be shabby. So it kind of like made me feel like I was really working towards building up my base more. Like I was more involved in what was going on and I had more ownership of that. This time around, we were in the White House, random stuff going on. Looks like a mess. You, me, and my wife go do a couple story missions. Nothing really eventful happens. We kill a bunch of guys, but that's about it. We come back, and then it's like a cutscene plays where it's like, oh yeah, the White House is in much better shape. Thank you for all your hard work. This room is better, and this room is better, and this room is better, and like we're rocking and rolling. It's really great, and people feel better. And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I didn't fix anything. I didn't donate anything. I literally left. I killed a bunch of dudes, and I came back. So it's like, I don't feel as connected to my base, not only because it's confusing, but because I'm not doing anything to it. Like it's just there, and it's just a place that I go. It's not really anything that means anything to me. Like I want it to be like the Normandy in Mass Effect, or like one of those bases, like a hub where you just build it up over time, where you invest in it, and it feels better, and it feels comfortable, and it feels familiar. And I just don't feel that when I go to any of the places here. What do you feel about that, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. Like, I actually had completely forgotten about the fact that you, like, add the points into the base from the first game. But as soon as you were talking about it yesterday when we were playing, I immediately remembered it. And, like, I don't know. There's, like, a piece of me that does miss that, and there's a piece of me that kind of doesn't care. But it is interesting in the Division 2 because the fact that the bases just kind of level up on their own just takes even more agency away from the player, and you think that they would want to give you more agency. But whenever you're talking about the White House being a mess, like it is like oh my god, that base is so dumb. It's like there's so many floors, there's so many rooms, there's so many doors, there's like a basement, and like I bet like 10% of the White House is actually places you like need to go, or like places where vendors are and stuff to do. And it's like really hard to know where you're going or know where all your vendors are. And I feel the same way about like the theater. Whenever the theater is like the next kind of, it's not like the big base of operations, but it's like the next one you unlock. And like you have to like go up all these like scaffolding stairs to get on the rooftop. And then there's just like all these people everywhere. And if there's like a little thing in the bottom left corner that tells you like, oh, you should talk to this person, like it's really hard to find that person, and nobody really does anything that makes them like stand out to me, and everything's just not like laid out in a very, I don't know, good way. And like when you're talking about the Normandy, I didn't really put those two together, but like, yeah, I mean, the Normandy is like super streamlined. I mean, you can get lost in the Normandy if you're an idiot like me, but like there's only like 3 floors. Like there's not a whole lot going on every floor, and every floor is kind of shaped the same because you're on a ship, and it's all kind of like a hallway because the ship is kind of narrow. So you generally know like where everyone is, and you take the elevator between floors and you know who's on each floor because the elevator panel tells you. And it's just a lot more streamlined. yeah, I don't know why they made the White House as big as it should be. Like, I would. This is gonna sound so like reductive and video game like in a sense, but like I would much rather have had them just like lock a door to the stairs and be like, nope, you can't go upstairs because like why even have an upstairs area if there's like nothing to do up there than like walk around and look at all of like the dying people that are like standing around or like the soldiers that are doing nothing. It just like it doesn't really add anything to the game and it doesn't like yeah, it makes it feel bigger, but there's nothing to do in the bigger spots. So it's just like I don't know, it's more space with no value attached to it.
Yeah, I agree. It's confusing. It just makes you waste your time. There's nothing to do there, and it makes you think there's something. Like I feel like I'm missing something because why would all these rooms be here if there's nothing to do there? And I search them and I'm like, am I forgetting something? Like what's going on? Nothing there. I mean, maybe vendors will show up as the game goes on. Maybe we'll recruit some more people. I don't know. But right now, it just feels like kind of a mess, and I don't like how it's really laid out. So that's kind of a weird complaint, but one that kind of nags at me when we play. Like it really kind of bothers me. The other thing that kind of bothers me is I'm having a really hard time finding a gun. So this is like a loot and shoot game where you shoot guys, get the loot, come back, upgrade your stuff, shoot some more guys, get some more loot. Like that's the loop. And I'm having a devil of a time finding a gun that I like. I found a particular type of rifle that I like. I'm like, okay, this one feels pretty good, fits my play style. I found one like almost right off the bat. Didn't find another one for like, I mean, it feels like hours. And I'm using that same underpowered one. And the game is even telling me, hey, dude, you're using a gun that's way too low for your level. Please upgrade your gun. And I'm like, well, okay, give me the fucking gun that I want. And like the vendors don't sell it. I don't have a way to make it. And I keep waiting for like one to drop. And like they're just dropping all these other kind of guns that I just don't like to use. And it's like, again, this is like another place where like kind of agency is taken away. And I realize, you can't always make your character exactly what you want. And part of the game is like finding drops and going after things that you want. But I mean, this is pretty basic. I mean, even something like, like Destiny or whatever, like has a couple different stores where you have options, and so you have at least something to work towards. But I feel like I'm just like I don't want to use the newer guns because they don't feel good to use, and I really want this one particular kind of gun, and I just can't get it, and it's a little bit frustrating, a little bit unsatisfying because all you're doing is shooting, and if you don't like the gun you're using to shoot, or if it's becoming too weak to use, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple guns that I like, thank goodness, because I have my trusty shotgun and I have my trusty, I prefer a semi-automatic rifle rather than a fully automatic or a 3-round burst, and I have both of those. But whenever we were playing yesterday, I mean, we played for a couple of hours roughly, and
Yeah.
we did 2 story missions, I think, and like a bunch of side missions, and I probably picked up in those 2, give or take 2 hours, probably about, I mean, if I had to put a number on it, I would say maybe 20 to 30 guns. And I think one of them was better than what I already had. And like, that's just like not a good ratio. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess I picked up a sniper rifle that's different and I still am holding it, but I don't really like using sniper rifles in that game, but I just kind of have it in case I ever need it or like the situation calls for it. But I just feel like the loot needs to be a little bit better, and it also feels incredibly not rewarding whenever you like finish a mission, you beat a boss and you get like fucking knee pads from the boss. Like it just feels really silly. I feel like they have too many kinds of gear and not enough like really count or really feel special. Like, oh, I got new gloves, I got a new holster, I got new knee pads that give me +5 damage resistance, and it's like, okay, this doesn't really feel that special. What I want is like a rifle that has a bigger magazine or that reloads quicker or that does a lot more damage or something, and getting like better guns is just really, it's hard to come by. Like for a loot and shooter, it's too hard to come by.
Yeah, I agree. I think I noticed this a while ago, and I mentioned it to my wife, but I was like, hey, it feels like things are dropping a lot less often. It's like I don't want to be showered in gear because there's a fine line. Like you can get too much gear where you're just constantly changing it and it feels like the stuff you get is disposable and you don't care about it. But then you don't want it to be so sporadic that like you're dying for new gear, like you're bored with your stuff. And that's really one of the key parts of a loot and shoot is like, you got to keep getting this slow feed of stuff to get. And I think, I mean, one of the big problems with the original Division, and I think it still holds true here as well, is like maybe because it's got Tom Clancy's name on it or whatever, but the stuff you get is boring, dude. Like you get a backpack or new gloves, or I mean, new knee pads. I mean, if they were cool, like if I got a knee pad that had like a little screamy face on it, or like an explosion, like a comic book explosion or something, I'd be like, oh, that looks neat. I want to put that on. That looks like I can customize my style, and it's interesting to look at. Like all this stuff looks the same. Like we're constantly changing gloves and backpacks and knee pads and body armor, or whatever, and like you just look the same. Like you just fucking look the same. You don't look different enough, and they keep missing that. Doing the fashion aspect is like a big appeal to these games. Like you want your character to look different. You want them to look special. You don't want all of your you don't want to look like your partner. Like I want all three of us to look wildly different because we all have different tastes in characters. We all have different tastes in clothing and costume and customization. And it's like we all look like, I mean, you're a guy and I'm using a girl, but other than that, we're basically like twinsies. And it's like it's kind of fucking boring. Like I want them to spice it up. And again, it's a video game. Who cares? If I have a big fucking bobblehead, so what? Like it's fun. Like they're missing that element from it. It's kind of painful to me. Like it's kind of painful like how drab they keep it. But at the same time, I realize that all we're doing is bitching about this game, but it's like we keep playing this game. Like we're going to we're going to play this game as soon as we get off the podcast. So like there's got to be something good about it. I challenge you right now, Corey, on the field of battle, say something good about the Division.
I like whenever somebody is running at me with one of those batons and I switch to my shotgun and blow them away whenever they're at close range.
Bloodthirsty and cold. I like it.
I like the tactical feel of shooting the guns feels really good, which is an important thing in the game, especially for my semi-automatic rifle. Like it feels heavy and it feels weighty to shoot. Also, the sound design is really impeccable as far as like the guns and the explosions and stuff go. And every time Gina pulls out her seeking mine and like it rolls toward an enemy and they're totally not suspecting it and it blows them all up, it's never not hilarious whenever that happens. And I also like the tactical aspects of like one of us is on the ground and I would go up to the balcony and shoot from above, so we could really kind of like focus in on like flanking and kind of going at things from all different angles rather than just going down one linear path and shooting. I like, this is going to be really stupid, but I like when you double tap X and you roll in different directions. I think that's a really like classic move that some video games are not, cashing in on. Like some games have a jump button, some have dodge. The game's dodge button works really well. I don't know. That's a handful of stuff that I like.
Those are all good things. I'm glad you said all those things, and I agree with all those things. I do want to call special attention to the rolling grenades. You get these little hamster ball grenades that kind of seek guys. You were correct. When that shit blows up, that's incredibly satisfying. It's just like, whoa! Like every time I'm just like, oh my god, look at that thing. It's like a geyser of fire right over there. Like it's pretty colossal. That's pretty good. Definitely yeah, I mean, I think you're right, dude. Like, so we bitched a lot, but I think that what he gets right is the guns feel good. The moment-to-moment action feels good. We were in a room yesterday where you were like on the top floor and you were kind of guarding like the floor below. Gina was down below. She was keeping those guys under control. And then I was going to go down there and help her, but then I saw somebody coming on the balcony like to your left and you didn't see them. So like I ran back there and like took that guy out before they got to you. And so like, the situational awareness was pretty high and it felt satisfying to like I was helping you were keeping this thing covered over here. The two of us together were keeping it good for her down below. And so like the moment to moment of that is pretty good. I will say that I also really like the drones and stuff. Like I mentioned the machine gun drone and the flying drone. I think those are really fun. It's really cool to like let a drone go and it's flying in the air. It's got a little machine gun mounted to it. And you can see some guy from like across the room and you're like, oh, go get that fucker. And like the drone flies over there, starts shooting him right in the head from like, he's hiding behind cover, but the drone just goes behind it and gets him. And I mean, that's fucking good times too. And just like the teamwork of like, Gina will bust out a heal and we'll like go over there and heal up. And then like, we'll kind of cover each other as guys are coming in and just the shouting to each other. Oh, there's somebody over here. There's somebody over here. And like, like the constant being in the shit is pretty entertaining on a moment-to-moment basis. So that's good. Like, I mean, there is good stuff about the Division. Like, I think that part is really good. And like we have said many times, it's a great group experience. I just wish they would like up their game in other parts that I think are really valuable. And like, if they could do those things, this experience would be like so much better. Like, I mean, I know Ubisoft is really keen on us getting to the end game. They made a big deal about get to the end game. The end game's going to be cool. I mean, okay, maybe so. But it's got to be interesting enough for me to want to get to the end game. I'm not going to play this game just to get to the end game. I want to play the fucking game. So like make it fun, Like I wish the bad guys were memorable. I wish the bad guys were exciting, and I love to hate a good bad guy. I wish that the characters back at base were people that I actually liked and remembered. Like, one of my favorite things playing Mass Effect was like talking to Joker, who piloted the Normandy, and he would always like have some dumb joke, or he'd make some kind of like vaguely sexist comment or something. And like but at least it was like you knew who he was, right? Like you knew you could identify with him, or maybe you didn't like him, or maybe you did, but at least he was a fucking character. Like I haven't played Mass Effect in years, and I can still tell you what he looks like, and I know his name is Joker, and he pilots a plane, and I can tell you all these things about him. I can tell you about people that are on the ship because they were memorable to me. I can't tell you anything about the Division, and I'm literally still playing it. I just played it yesterday, and I can't tell you anything about the story. So, if you looked cooler, if the story was cooler, if the characters were cooler, this would be like the best fucking multiplayer game out there, dude. Like, I think it's got a lot going for it, but they just fall down. They're not quite there, and I'm not sure they're going to get there because maybe it is Tom Clancy that's holding them back. Maybe they're too beholden to the license, I don't know.
Yeah, if they would just like let the, it's not like, I like you're talking about character customization. We're talking about like really keeping everything down. They don't need to like crank it up to 15 like Saints Row does, where you're carrying around like a giant dildo baseball bat you're hitting people with. But like, I wish they would allow themselves some breathing room to be just like a little bit more goofy. Like this game, it's just like it takes itself way too seriously, I guess, is like a kind of like core of what I guess maybe we've both been trying to get at here, is like, it presents this really big story about like, the dollar flu hit New York, and now like this game kind of sort of takes place concurrently or like just after the New York situation. It's in DC, and like there's kind of a hook in this game about like how like asthma has become deadly because of this flu, which is funny for me because I actually have asthma. So like the idea of asthma being deadly actually does scare me. But then the game like doesn't really go anywhere with it. It's just like the dollar flu hit, asthma's deadly, there are looters out there. And the tagline for the game is basically like good guys with guns, the video game, because that's all you're doing. It's like you have the quote unquote bad guys looting, and then you're the quote unquote good guys with your like military armor and shit, and all you're doing is just like going out and murdering all of them, and then like you're the good guys. And it's just like a weird, I don't know, it just takes itself too seriously. It's too like beholden to reality, even though you're like flying these drones around that are like autopiloting and shooting people for you. And I don't know, like I just wish that it would like have more fun. Like it doesn't have to be so serious, it doesn't have to be so fun, it doesn't have to be Saints Row, but it doesn't have to be this like, like Clint Eastwood, like straight-laced, like army man, shooty man's game. The game is ridiculous in and of itself already. Like I wish it would just let itself have a little bit more fun. And even like when it thinks it's having fun, it's like not. Like, the game has different like shirts and pants and outfits and stuff you can wear, and it has these like ridiculous like, stars and stripes like gun paints, you can paint your guns and stuff. But like, yeah, it has like the outfits and stuff you can put on, but you're wearing all your armor over it anyway, so you can't even see the outfits you have on underneath. Like, yeah, you might have like a fun like American flag jumpsuit on, but you have your bulletproof vest on over it, you have your elbow pads, you have your gloves over it, you have your knee pads over it, you have your backpack straps over it, so like you don't even see that stuff anyway. I wish that they would just give themselves, I feel like if they gave themselves permission to be just like a little more loosey-goosey and a little more silly, then people would be more interested in it, because you get that kind of silliness from something like Destiny, where the guns are bright purple or neon green, and all the characters are doing stupid emotes and dancing together at the base of operations and stuff, because like it's just more whimsical, I guess. And the Division just takes itself too seriously. And like I realize that we are shitting all over this game right now, but the second we're done recording this podcast, we're going to go plug in and play it for an hour, and I cannot wait to play more of it. But this game could be so much better than it is, and it's such a fucking shame that they basically just copied and pasted the first one right into the second one and made like no improvements on like quality of life or character or silliness or customization, and they just like cranked it out, and then here's another one, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a lot of potential that's really going untapped here. And I think the inability to really commit to it as a player, because it's not giving me what I want. I'm not able to look the way that I want to look. I'm not able to like laugh with it. I'm not able to like you said, get that sense of humor. That is really necessary, and it's not like the whole thing has to be Saints Row. It doesn't have to be jokes. You know, like you said, no dildo bats or anything. But it's like a little bit of something funny once in a while. Like you pick up these little audio recordings, and they're all like, I mean, maybe there's funny ones at some point, but everyone I've found so far has been really dire. They're all like, oh, I'm bleeding out. Tell my wife I love her. And it's like, okay, it's not fun. There's nothing fun about that. Like there's, you know, like it's just all scary and dark and too serious. And it's like, man, just lighten up a little bit. Like even, I think that Dead Rising is a pretty good example of that. Have you ever played Dead Rising?
Yeah, I've sampled all of them. The third one is the only one I've finished, I think.
Okay, so like that is definitely on the sillier side, but there's definitely a lot of like serious missions. You can get into a lot of trouble by being surrounded by zombies. And so, you know, sometimes something heavy happens, but there's also like missions that are just fucking goofy. Like just weird stuff happens. And so having a little bit of a break once in a while from this like just po-faced seriousness all the time is really valuable. And I think Ubisoft is just missing the boat so hard on that. They've got such a good thing going. It's like someone cooks this delicious like steak and they just give it to you and they're like, yeah, it's steak, have it. And you're like, yeah, okay, this is real good. I mean, you cooked it really well and it tastes good. But like, where's my baked potato? Where's my salad? Where's my drink? Where's the steak sauce? Where's my cheesecake for dessert? Like, if you served me all these things, I would come to this restaurant all the fucking time. I would never leave. And your steak is great, but like, it's just steak. And so maybe I would rather have a steak that's cooked less well if I get all the other fixings with it. That to me sounds like a better meal. And I think that's where Ubisoft is at right now. They're missing the other things that let people in. They're missing the stuff that keeps people. So, I mean, we're still really, really early on. There's lots of the game left. Maybe things will change. Maybe things will. Well, maybe we'll find a goofy zone. Who knows? Maybe we'll find a big floppy hat to wear. Maybe I'll find, you know, the dildo shooting gun. Who knows? Nobody knows. Who knows what's in there? But we shall see. I think I'm probably talked out on it now. You got any last minute things you want to say about the Division, or should we table it for now?
I was not expecting us to dive this deep on the Division, and I think we should probably table this. I mean, table it. We've already taken up like a fucking cafeteria lengths like table of this discussion, but we can move on by all means.
All right, let's move on. We'll come back to it at some point, but we should probably play some more before we keep running our mouths off. So moving on from the Division 2, I will take over for a moment here. I just have a couple of quick things to mention. One game that I came across on the Switch that I really want to give a shout out to is called Golf Peaks, Peaks. I don't know who makes it, because we always do our research and due diligence before the show. I apologize, I don't know who makes this, but I think it was a Kickstarter, and I believe that they had some community involvement with it. It looks like a golf game. It is 100% not a golf game, despite the fact that it's called Golf Peaks. It's actually a puzzle game, and what it is again, I'm playing on the Switch. You have a little course of abstract blocks. It looks like Q*bert a little bit. You remember Q*bert from back in the day? You know Q*bert?
Yes.
Okay. Q*bert. That kind of like 3/4 perspective viewpoint, and the ball starts on one end of the course. There's a hole on the other, as you would expect from a golf game. But instead of like taking strokes with a club or, you know, doing the regular golf mechanics, you get cards that are listed at the bottom of the screen. And like, it'll say like putt forward 2, and the other one will be like putt forward 1, and one will be like, jump 1 square and move forward 1 square. And so you just look at those and you're thinking, okay, so what combination of cards is going to get this ball into this hole, depending on what the course looks like. And it starts out pretty easy, flat surfaces, and it's pretty straightforward. But as you go on, there's like, you know, the blocks start stacking, and then there's like sand traps, and then there's all sorts of little obstacles that pop up. And so you got to think about, okay, well, not only do I need to get to the hole, but like, how can I navigate all these different obstacles? And, you know, it's never overwhelming. It's always very simple and straightforward. Like, you don't have to look at anything more than what's on your screen. And it's very well presented. It's very elegant. And I love an elegant game. Everything is right there. There's no menus to go into. There's very few buttons. It's all just what you see on the screen is what you get, and work with what you have. And so, I mean, even the toughest puzzle by process of elimination, as long as you are paying attention, you will eventually figure out what you need to do, because there's only so many options. But I say that as a good thing, because I don't like puzzle games where if you don't exactly think the exact way that the developers think, then you're stuck. I mean, I like it to be approachable. I like it to be completable. The feeling of satisfaction when you play a good puzzle game is really good, and I like that buzz you get. So this is really nice. It's a really nice, elegant, straightforward, clean, very minimal game about using these particular cards to get a golf ball in a hole. And I definitely recommend it. I like it a lot. I've been playing a couple puzzles a night before bed, and I think it's a great fit. Like, it's a nice chill out game to wind down with, very relaxing, tests your brain a little bit but not too much, and it's just really well done. It's also a perfect fit for the Switch. It feels right at home on the Switch. I think I've seen it on mobile, and it makes sense that it would be on mobile too, but it feels real good on the Switch too. I like it a lot. I mean, I don't know that it's for everybody because you have to be in the market for a chill out puzzle game. But if you are, do I have the game for you? This is a really wonderful game. I like it a lot. So,
okay,
thoughts, Greg?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because you know how I feel about puzzle games, so I have to ask the question: is there a such thing as a chill out puzzle game? Because anytime I hear puzzle game, I immediately think it's going to be too hard, and I'm going to get frustrated, and I'm not going to want to play it. So the words chill out and puzzle game like don't go hand in hand for me. Is it really that chill out of a puzzle game? Would I be able to play this?
I think you would be able to play it. I don't know that if you would like it or not, because I don't know what your particular barrier for entry is on puzzle games. But I say it's a chill out game for a couple of reasons. I mean, it will mentally challenge you. I've gotten stuck maybe a couple times, and it takes me a few minutes to work through it, but then I work through it. So I think so far the difficulty has been very manageable. I mean, you're not just like cakewalking your way through it. But I don't feel I have not yet gotten to a puzzle where I'm like, this is fucking impossible. I have to look up an answer. Like, I've been able to solve them all so far. Maybe that will change, but because you have so few variables, like, the course is what it is. You can see the whole course in one go. You've only got 3 or 4 cards, so there's only 3 or 4 possible moves. So like there's not a lot of variables, so that helps. The screen is very clean, and there's no like explosions. There's nothing distracting you. So I think visually it's a very calming experience. There's no time limits, so you can always take as long as you want. So there's no rush. You can undo any number of moves as many times as you want. So there's
okay. Now I've got a little bit of a boner. All right. Okay.
Okay. There we go. Yeah. So like, they're not punishing you for anything, dude. Like, they want you to play this game. Like, you make a move. Okay, that didn't work. No problem. Undo it. No limit. No punishment. No points. There's no score deduction. They don't call you like a coward for not doing the roguelike mode or anything. They're just like, here, we just made this and we want you to engage with it, and we're going to challenge you a little bit. But you fuck it up, no problem. You just go back. You go back, try it again. That didn't work. Try it again. Who cares? Just keep trying. And so in that sense, it's a real mellow, chill out puzzle game because I don't feel pressure, because nothing bad's going to happen. There's no time limit. I can just look at it for like an hour before I make my first move if I want to. And if I make a mistake, who cares? Push a button, goes right back. You can start completely over, undo your last move as many times as you want. Doesn't matter. So, I mean, there will be times when you may have to, work the gray matter a little bit and try to figure out something that's a little tough. But they want you to play it. They're not trying to punish you. They're not trying to, some puzzle games I play where I feel like they're kind of like laughing at me, or I feel like they're taking the piss, as the British would say, where they know something you don't know. And if you can't figure it out, then har, we got you. I feel like that way about some puzzle games. I don't feel that way about this one. I feel like it's all there, and it's really up to me to just use my brain and use the things they've given me and just put it together. And the pieces will eventually fit together. Like, I've not thrown it down in anger. I've not walked away being mad. I mean, I've had to work a few minutes on a couple, but you get there, and then it feels satisfying. It's all logical. Like, there's no tricks to it. There's no tomfoolery going on, and I appreciate the vibe. Like, I think it's a really good, and like I said, kind of mellow puzzler.
All right, I think it's gonna go on my wish list.
All right, I think it's a good one. I would recommend it to anybody who likes a good puzzle game. I think it's pretty cheap. I think did I buy it or did I get a code? I may have gotten a code, so maybe a disclosure on that one, or maybe I bought it. I can't remember. But regardless, either way, it's pretty cheap. I think it's only like $5 or something. Maybe not even that expensive, but so far, total thumbs up. I love it. This is exactly the kind of thing that I like on the Switch, and I am adoring it. So, That's what I have to say about Golf Peaks. One more game on my agenda, unfortunately, will not be as positive as the one I just talked about. It's called Trailmakers. I'm playing it on the Xbox One early access program. They call it like the game preview program, I think. I saw this game at PAX West, I think 2 years ago, and I was like, oh my god, this game looks fucking amazing. I cannot wait to play this. What I saw at that time was an open world where the developers give you the power to create whatever kind of vehicle that you want. So you can make a car, you can make an airplane, you can make a mech suit, you can make a centipede that has wheels, you can make a wagon, a big horse, or like whatever you want. Like they were like, make whatever you want, and the point of the game is to like cross the world, or like some kind of like worldwide rally race or something like that. And I'm like, oh, this looks amazing. I would love to be able to craft a vehicle that is capable of like getting across a mountain, and then when I get to the bottom of the mountain, maybe I reconfigure it and make something that can cross a plains, and then maybe I need to reconfigure it to make a sky vehicle or something. So I'm like, oh my god, love your concept. They showed videos of what you could do with the building mechanics. I'm like, this looks amazing. I'm so excited. My son's gonna love this. Sign me up. So at least a year's gone by, if not 2 years. They sent me a code. So full disclosure, got this code from the developer for the Xbox early preview, and I'm just like, man, this is what you guys did with it. Like I just like so disappointing. So what it ended up being, or at least what it is in its current incarnation, is there's a couple of different separate modes, and the one where you're kind of crossing the world does not seem to exist anymore. So what they ended up doing was making a bunch of like little racetracks, and then they, in the beginning of each racetrack, they either let you build whatever car you want, depending on if you have the blocks for it, and you have to like buy some blocks. You win a couple races, buy some blocks, or they'll just give you like a template, and you can build that car that they suggest for the race. So I'm like, okay, well, this is not what I was expecting, but that's fine. I'll try this out, and we'll see what happens. So I mean, the building is still okay. They don't give you very much instruction about how some of the more advanced things work, but I guess you just experiment, so no problem. But you build a car, and then you drive a really simple race around a track, and you're just driving, and I'm like, this is really boring. I'm just driving around a track, and it's one of those games where the AI like never makes mistakes, and so you have to really like find the perfect line and just get through it really to me it was really irritating to play it, because I just like had to be perfect using the stock car, and if I wanted to build my own car, that was actually better, because I could build something that was just straight up faster, and that really helped alleviate some of the frustration I had. But it's boring. You're just driving around a track, and you're winning a couple really simple races with different kinds of cars. It uses real world physics, which I guess is okay, but there was many times when I felt like I was spinning out when I shouldn't be spinning out, or like it was too hard to turn when it shouldn't be that hard to turn. I felt like it just didn't feel good to race, and I'm sure that probably depends on the vehicle, what kind of tires I have, what the ground surface is. But I mean, bottom line was like I just wasn't enjoying that mode at all, and that's kind of the main campaign mode. So I'm like, okay, well, what are the other modes? As far as I can tell, they're just kind of like creation modes, which are fine, and my son loves them. But you just put a vehicle together and see if it works, and then you're done. Like, you don't really do anything with it. There's nowhere to go. There's no challenges. It's just like you play with the creation tool, which is fun and cool, and it's interesting. I wish I had a little bit more help, because I find it really hard to make a mech suit, and I don't know how to make certain things, but okay, whatever. I just don't feel like there's really like a game here. Like, I just don't feel like there's much to do. Like, you do these simple races, that seems pretty flat and boring. You go to the creation mode. I like putting stuff together, but I got nothing to do with it after I'm done. It's just like you put a Lego set together and then you stick it on your shelf. There's nothing really to do with it. So I feel like the gameplay is missing from this game. Like, they had a good idea, and the mechanics are fine, but I feel like it's only halfway there. So to be fair, this is the early access program. I don't know what else is coming down the pipe. I don't know how far along they think it is. It's certainly not a complete product, so I got to be very clear about that. This is a preview. I hope they take it further than where they're at right now, because kind of like The Division, it feels like a great idea that's kind of going to waste because they're not making the most of it. So I played it for maybe like, I don't know, like 2 hours, 3 hours, and I'm like, okay, I am thoroughly bored right now. Like, I just don't want to engage with this anymore. So I'm going to put it aside. they've been putting out a couple updates over the last week or two, which is great. Hopefully it will keep going. I don't know what the ultimate goal is, but hopefully it goes somewhere further than where it's at, because it feels like literally just like half a game. Like the actual game is just not there. So kind of disappointing after waiting all this time. I thought it would be a lot further along. I thought it'd be kind of a different thing in practice, but things happen. Things happen, and this is where we are. So a little disappointed with Trailmakers. Still a good idea, but maybe not what I want it to be. And Golf Peaks, though. Golf Peaks was great, so I love Golf Peaks. So half good, half bad this week. Any thoughts on Trailmakers, Corey?
Not really. It doesn't really sound like something I would be interested in. So I probably will not partake.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, I think the biggest source of appeal for this are people who just like the sheer joy of tinkering with things. My son really likes the building. But I mean, as far as game goes, I kind of want more. I crave more. So that's it for me. We've got one more game to talk about before we wrap. And folks, this is going to be our spoiler warning. Official giant red flag, flashing light alarm, sirens, people screaming down the aisles. This is the spoiler section. Or actually Corey will be talking about The Occupation. He will give a description. We talked about it last week. In a non-spoiler sense, this week we're going to be spoiling the whole thing. He's going to talk about the story twists, the ending, what he thought of it, everything from soup to nuts. So if you do not want to be spoiled on The Occupation, this is your incredibly long, drawn-out, explicit, super explicit warning. If you're on a bike, please pull over and stop your podcast recording. If you're in a car, please stop. If you're at home, I don't know, do whatever. Click your mouse, stop the podcast, whatever you want to do. This is it, folks. So with that spoiler warning out of the way, Corey Motley, I turn it over to you. Give us a quick refresher on The Occupation and then spoil away, sir.
All right, so you're correct. I did talk about The Occupation last week a little bit. And basically this game it's a first-person kind of immersive simulator by White Paper Games. And they made Ether 1 previously, which is a game that I'm a big fan of. And they've been developing this for a while, and you play as, it has two like main characters you play as, and you swap between them during chapters. For part of the game, you play as Scarlett Carson, who I think she's the chief operating officer for this like software company in the late 80s in the United Kingdom, somewhere over in Europe and the United Kingdom area. And whenever at the end of the first chapter, because you start as her, the company that she works for, a bomb goes off in part of the offices, and that kind of is like what sets in motion the game itself. And it turns out that the company is sort of developing some kind of computer software that kind of lets the government find like immigrants in the country more easily or something like that. And the government is also trying to pass what they call the Union Act, which is like sort of like a deportation of immigrants kind of thing. And forgive me if I'm not super in tune, because this game, I said this last week and I'll say it again, it's very, feel like this game, it's one of two things, and I feel like I say this a lot on the show. Some of the themes in the game are either too smart for me, or they're just not presented well enough for me to like fully understand what's going on. And I think we've got a healthy mix of both of those things going on here. And then for the other parts of the game, you play as a detective. And I want to apologize, although we recorded last week's show, and to be frank, I have not published it yet, although it is completely done. So if you listen to that show, I actually got the main character's name wrong in that episode. The entire time I called him Mr. Martin. He is in fact Mr. Miller, because this game has really boring character names, so I cannot remember any of them, which is problematic. They're realistic, but it's problematic. His name is Harvey Miller. He is a journalist and an author, and he is basically cleared to basically go to the office, or the suite, the campus, if you will, where the bombing took place, and conduct a series of interviews with people who work there to figure out what happened, to try to get to the bottom of it, because there was an immigrant who was working for the company, and at the beginning of the game, they sort of like pin the bombing on him, and you kind of go in there to figure out, okay, did he really do it? Did he not do it? Was he framed? What happened, basically. But the gameplay of the game comes down to like the Scarlet sections are pretty walking simulator-y, where you kind of just only do one thing. It's pretty linear. She kind of talks you through what's going on as you're doing it, and I like that because I like walking sims. But the Harvey parts are kind of like Deus Ex-y in a way, where you get to, every time you get to an interview, to an office for an interview, you get there about an hour before you need to conduct the interview, an hour before the meeting. And you have that hour to basically roam around the office. And by roam, I mean sneak around, because there's areas that are sort of restricted staff only areas you can sneak around in. You can rummage through file cabinets. You can log into people's computers. You can print documents. You can, the editor for the piece you're writing, her name is Mina. She calls you every once in a while on payphones. She'll page you to let you know she's going to call you, and then you have to make it to a payphone in time for her to call you, or else she'll ask you to call her back. You don't have to take her calls, but it's advised that you do because she gives you new leads. But this kind of sets up the main thing of the game, is that whenever you're doing the office snooping section, the game runs in real time. So usually you get to the suites or to the office an hour before the interview starts, and then you have that set hour to basically try to track down as much as you can on the leads that are going on. So for example, whenever you get to the first area, you have a meeting scheduled with, I think her name's Carla, and she's like a PR person for the company. And your editor gives you a lead, and she's like, well, Alex, who is the guy who they say bombed the building, she said, okay, Alex, like information leaked that he wasn't even at the building the night that it happened, and there's supposed to be phone records somewhere, so try to find those phone records. So, like, that's kind of your first lead. You're, like, trying to snoop around, trying to log into people's computers, looking through file cabinets, try to find these phone records, and then eventually she'll call and she'll be like, okay, I have another lead. There's this other thing that we think is going on. Will you look for that? And so it's kind of like a big web of you, like, trying to break into people's offices, trying to dodge. There's, like, one security guard and one janitor that walk around, and if they catch you, they'll like ask you to leave the office or tell you to go back to like a common area. And I've only been caught once, I think once or twice. So I don't know if you get caught a bunch of times, if they like arrest you and it's game over, or if you have to like restart the chapter, or what happens. Because, you know, me being sort of like the stealthy game fanatic that I am, I'm trying to be very careful about getting caught. And you can also like hide under stuff. So like if you're in somebody's office, usually if like Steve is the security guard's name, if he like sees you, you'll hear him out in the hallway, and he'll be like, oh, is somebody in that office? And if you like duck and like hide under a table, you can usually like dodge him, and he'll like inspect the room for a little while and then leave. But sometimes if you're like, he walks in the office and you're right there, if you walk around a corner and he's right there, he'll be like, hey, Harvey, you're not supposed to be here. You need to leave. You need to come with me. And there's no combat. There's no health. There's nothing like that. Are you up to speed? Is that was a really thorough explanation. Before I move on, Brad?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think I've got a general sense of how it goes. So keep going.
Okay, so I beat the game. I was right last week when I talked about this, which again, the show's not up yet. My apologies. I was like a chapter away from finishing it, and I thought I was close, but I wasn't sure, because it's kind of a game where you're not exactly sure when it's going to end, which I mean, you know, is kind of neither here nor there. And it turns out, so the thing that's kind of fascinating is that you gather the evidence during the stealthy sections, but the game keeps moving even if you don't. So like for the first chapter, whenever you're snooping around the first office area, I think there's like 4 leads you can track down, and you have to do kind of a lot of legwork in order to come clean on every one of the leads. Like for the first one, the one about the phone records, you have to like, you can like log into somebody's computer and like read an email, and then the email will say that the file that you need that has the phone records is in this filing cabinet, and then you go to the filing cabinet and there's like a note that says it's somewhere else. So it's kind of like a big like goose chase, kind of not unlike maybe like Shenmue, because that entire game is like a giant investigative goose chase. It's like that, but like boiled down into a Deus Ex game. So you end up kind of like going through all these offices and trying to track down these leads. And then whenever you conduct the interview, it's like a question and answer thing where you have a set amount of questions you can ask. But the more leads you find, the more questions you can ask. And so like I found the phone records on my second playthrough, and Carla had said something like, oh, well, because I asked her a question about Alex said he wasn't here the night that it happened. And she was like, well, I don't know how you're going to prove that, Mr. Miller. Like, and then you're like, well, fuck you, Carly. Here's the fucking phone records. And you can like put them down on the desk, which is kind of like a mic drop moment, like every time, because the people you're interviewing are never like forthcoming about the information. It's almost as if they're trying to cover something up, which is kind of like the big piece of the game here. And then you like present the information to them. And to be clear, my first run through was pretty terrible. I think, over the course of the game, there was maybe like, I don't know, 10 leads you can track down. I'm pretty sure I cleared like 2 of them because I was being so careful and so slow about the way that I moved around the environment and trying to make sure that I wouldn't get caught, that I just like didn't move at a brisk enough pace to like track down all the leads, because it's actually really hard work. Like even in my second playthrough right now, I'm only about halfway through the game. And in the first investigative section, even on my second playthrough, like kind of knowing like the gist of the game and knowing a little bit of the layout and kind of knowing like the rules, I still couldn't track down all the leads in the first section. I think I got 3 out of 4. So I was able to like ask more questions and to present more evidence and kind of get better answers. But I cannot say yet what that means for the end of the game. I don't know if you present a certain amount of evidence, if you get like different ending options, or if you unlock like different areas to go to or anything like that. So that's kind of still, I'm just really not sure about that because I haven't finished my second playthrough, but I am doing better my second time through than I was on my first time through. But what ends up happening is throughout the course of the game, there you get shown cutscenes between Scarlett and I think it's the CEO of the company. I think his name is Charles. And Scarlett's husband, who was the CFO, Michael, died in the bombing. So, excuse me. So part of the game, whenever you're playing through her sections, she's going through a lot of monologues about like grief and about missing him and about, she can't believe that he died in the blast. And she actually has some really good writing that sort of like really contextualizes kind of the grief and the trauma that she's feeling. There's like a section where you're going through the ruins of part of the bombing site, and she's talking about like how he went to work that morning and he like got out of the shower and left his towel on the floor, and she like almost got mad at him for leaving his towel on the floor because he always does and annoys her, or it was like his sweater or something. And then she like gets sad about it as she's talking about it, and it's really fascinating because like trauma and grief often lives in like the minutia of the details like that, where you become sort of like numb to a daily routine. And then say if you like get a divorce or you break up with your girlfriend or whatever, and suddenly that part of the routine is over, and then it really like affects you in really strange ways. And I thought they really nailed it with some of her monologues about like sort of the grief that she was feeling and having her talk through it. But the part in the cutscenes, it's her and the CEO, and they're kind of like trying to decide what they want to do with the company, because the CEO supports the Union Act, which is sort of like trying to deport immigrants, and she is opposed to it. And it turns out that at the end of the game, and this is kind of disappointing, it's kind of one of those games where you like do the whole game, then you get to the end, and it kind of just like presents this binary choice to you on, do you want to side with the CEO or do you want to side with the COO, or whatever Scarlett is. And I guess you like present whatever evidence you have. So on my first playthrough, I was led to believe that Alex was not actually the one that caused the explosion. And in fact, it was Scarlett who caused the explosion. So she was behind it all. And whenever I played through it the second time, or so far through the second time, it's like incredibly obvious. Like they make it so clear at the beginning that she's the one that caused it. And because I was trying to get my head around the mechanics of the game, I wasn't paying attention so much to what was going on in the story or what was going on in like the fine details of like what was actually happening in the first chapter, because like the tutorial is not the place to like hide story sensitive information, or maybe it is because maybe they didn't want you to realize what was going on. And if that's the case, then it totally worked. But like once I finished my first play and realized that Alex wasn't the one who caused the explosion, as soon as I started the second playthrough and like 5 minutes into the first playthrough or my second playthrough, I was like, oh, of course she didn't cause it, because she's like stole his key card and is using it to get into areas of the building, and she like boots up the server, which caused the explosion. But I guess I was just super oblivious to that the first time through because I was trying to like learn the game itself, because the game is not very forthcoming about like the boundaries that it presents, which I think is kind of problematic in its favor. And then the other thing that's problematic, aside from that and aside from the game boiling down to a binary choice at the end, is that it's kind of got this Hitman-like quality where whenever you start a new game, basically the same thing happens every time. It's kind of like starting a Hitman level. Like there's no randomness in a Hitman level whenever you start it. It's the same people in the same places doing the same stuff every time, and then you just have to decide how you want to navigate those circumstances. And the Occupation does the same thing, where if you start a new game, as far as I can tell, there's no randomized information. Like, I don't think any of the safe codes, I don't think any of the door codes, I don't think any of the key cards are in random places. I think everything is the exact same. So at that point, if you go in for a second or third playthrough, and the game is like 5 hours long, so it's not that long, it's basically just comes down to you doing it as fast as you can. And so like even whenever on my second playthrough, I only got 3 of the 4 leads in the first section. Like, if I played it a third time, I would basically just have to do all the exact same stuff, but do it faster, or I would have to remember where the stuff was for my first and second playthrough and kind of, like, cut out some of the middleman of the goose chase, which, I mean, is, like, kind of an okay thing, but I don't know if I'm interested in playing the entire game, like, a third time, or even all of a second time, just to, like, do the same stuff I did before, but faster. And then the last thing, I realize I'm really kind of soapboxing here. The last thing that kind of is strange for me about this game is that whenever you start the hour-long segments as Harvey, whenever you're snooping around the environment, the game very clearly tells you when you start the chapter, it says, the game is saving right now. The game will save again at the end of this chapter. And so whenever you're playing in that 1 hour of real time and then like the 15-minute interview after, the game does not save, it does not auto-save, and you cannot manually save it. So you kind of have to have like an hour, maybe an hour and a half of like completely solid free time in order to play this game. And it's possible that you can get through like 50 minutes of the hour-long segment and then like get caught in an office, and that's not really gonna like super duper like alter the course of the game, at least not that I know of. But if you're kind of trying to do like a 100% stealth completion run like I am, because I'm like crazy about that stuff, there's also a trophy for never getting caught, which I did not get on my first time through. It's possible to get through like almost an hour of gameplay and then get caught if you're not being careful, and then basically you've blown that trophy, or you've like blown the time to get that back, and you can't save. It's not like Deus Ex where you save and then you try something and you save and you try something. You're in it for that hour and that's it. And the game keeps moving with you. Rather you could stand in front of Carla's office for an hour and then just go in and do the interview, and the game really wouldn't say anything otherwise. Or you could spend that hour like trying to dig deep as much as you can, break into the offices, turn breakers on and off, crawl through vents and do all of that. So it's just kind of weird to me that, like, you can't save your game in the middle of the chapters. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a particularly complicated thing that they could have, like, introduced into the game, but it just bothers me a little bit that you kind of, like, have to have that sheer hour of playtime to set aside in order to do that. And I know that, like, someone like you, I know that you're, like, sometimes on call for your job, you have a son, like, you have things going on in your life, and it would be hard, I imagine, for people who have a lot of commitments, a lot of stuff going on, to really just like set aside that hour to hour and a half of like pure gameplay to be able to play it. And so like it makes me kind of wary about why they didn't just let you save the game in the middle of it. Like I'm a little bit confused about that, or at least offer like, like a 30-minute save point and then like an hour save point or something, just like a little bit of leeway there. So, I mean, that's kind of in a big, huge, gigantic nutshell, kind of like an overview of the story, what I think about it. I do, like, at the end of the day, I feel like I'm doing the same thing we did for The Division earlier. I do like this game. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great, and I think I like Ether 1 more, although they are kind of different games. I just, like, am a little bit disappointed because I wish that... I feel like it feels a little undone for me. Like, it feels... And it is an indie studio. I think, like, 7 people work at the studio, so obviously it's not like... a 200-person team at EA or something. So, you can sort of like expect things to feel a little more like indie in a sense, but it just feels like it it's not quite as put together as I wish it were. And I remember thinking the same thing about Ether 1 when I played it too, because I got through about 70% of Ether 1 when I played it, and then I hit a game breaking bug in the middle of it and had to start the game completely over again, which was not cool. And I haven't hit anything like that with The Occupation, but just like knowing that track record and feeling how the game feels like slightly buggy just doesn't give me all the confidence in the world about what I'm playing. But I do like it. I just don't love it. I was expecting to like it a lot more. I feel like the game could do a better job of setting itself up for the player and being more transparent about its rules and its story, and it could maybe use character names that aren't so boring so I could actually remember them whenever I come away from the game. But that's it so far, I think.
That is a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot, sorry.
I'm thinking, I'm trying to like, I'm listening to you talk about it, and like, the more I hear about it, I think the less I want to play it. Because I don't like time pressure in any game, and so the thought of like having to get stuff done in a hurry and to do it fast, like fast is one of like my least favorite things in a game. Like I don't want pressure of any kind, and that seems like a lot. I mean, listening to the whole thing, it sounds very like kind of just hard to wrap your head around. Like it seems kind of cerebral and really just kind of. I was listening for like a hook, like I didn't really get like a hook. Do you feel like that's really kind of what the game is missing? Because, I mean, the scenario, what you described, I mean, you went into the characters a little bit and kind of what you do, but like, I didn't get at no point when I was listening to you did I feel like, aha, that's why they made this game, or like, aha, that's what they were going for. Like, do you feel like it's missing kind of a sharper point, or like maybe like a very specific thing? Because it seems kind of just, I don't know, it's kind of nebulous and kind of wandering. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the thing that I'm actually glad you asked this because I kind of forgot about this, but I feel like the like hook of the game is, hey, you have this 1 hour of real time to do these things. And I was telling Patrick in the car the other day, like, I think that's a really cool idea. I like the idea, because it's rare that time passes in real time in video games. And I like the idea of them being like, hey, you have this hour, you better fucking use it wisely or you're going to be screwed, because that's kind of what the game is. I just wish that they would like impress that upon you a little bit more, because it does like kind of light a fire under my ass. And I'm so used to playing games where I'm not really like tied to any time commitment. So I do think that it's a really cool idea that it has going for it, where it's like, hey, this game moves in real time. This game's going to move on even if you don't. So like because it's very realistic in a sense. And I remember talking last week about the realism with like getting the floppy disk and copying the document and taking it to the printer and printing it on that computer. Like it's very like, I mean, this honestly could be like one of the most realistic games I've ever played, sort of like in that regard of like the boundaries of like realism in games. And I think that like that mixed with the, hey, you have like 1 hour to do these things kind of is the hook. But I just feel like, I don't know, it seems like that they sat in a board meeting and had like, and they all formulated this idea, and then they were like, yeah, this is a really good idea, like we should really run with this. But then like what ended up happening is that it's just like not enough. Like I like it, but I feel like it's just not where I want it to be. Like that idea is not enough, and it doesn't help that the story is very politically themed. It's about immigrants, it's about a bombing, it's about a software company that's doing like kind of like not nice things about like searching for immigrants and kind of exposing them to the government so that they can maybe be deported. And that's all very topical and relevant, but it's also kind of dull. And like if you mix that with like, the game, I don't know. I mean, the game has a sense of urgency, but I feel like it needs to impress that upon you a little bit more than it does. Because if I remember correctly, the game never like outright tells you like, hey, you have this 1 hour and you can never get it back. Like it tells you the game is saving now, and then an hour it's going to save again, or at the end of the chapter it's going to save again. But I kind of wish the game would just straight up tell you like, hey, you have this hour to get all your shit done, so you better get it done because you're not getting any of this time back. And by the way, you can't save. And I feel like it's missing that, like, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I should have known that going in, but I didn't because I was trying to go into this game as blind as I possibly could, which maybe was problematic for me in the end. But the game needs like a slight bit more tutorial and more of an edge on like letting you know what it's doing. Because I ended up freaking, I felt like a freaking fish out of water my first playthrough because I was trying to be so careful and trying to be so courteous and trying not to get caught while still grappling with the bounds of the game's realism, which makes you take a lot more time to do all the tasks you're trying to do, that I barely got anything done when I was playing it. And so on my second playthrough, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm really going to like get in it and like, really get things done. And even on my second playthrough, I didn't finish all the leads in the first chapter. So I don't know, like I feel like that was the hook, but I just don't know if it's enough. And I think asking players to come back to this game, I mean, I don't think they're outright asking you to play it over and over and over again, but if like that's kind of part of it, like, oh, you didn't get everything the first time, so come back the second time. I don't know if asking players to come back and play like a 4 to 5 hour game, 2 or 3 times to try to 100% it is like the best idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think certain games can pull it off, but I don't know that this one can do it. I mean, it kind of sounds like, like once you know what's up, then it's just a matter of like collecting stuff or just doing the things in the right order or prioritizing properly. But I mean, for me, maybe it's different for other people, but for me, that's not a compelling enough hook. I mean, for something like this, the hook would be for me, I want to know what's going on. And once I know what's going on, then I'm good. And maybe I don't get everything 100% all the way, but it just doesn't seem that compelling to me. I mean, of course, this is maybe more up your alley than my alley, so I'm kind of biased that way, but yeah, I'm not super keen on what you're describing so far, especially the point of like having to have an hour just straight through to play those sections. I mean, real life happens, and like I don't know why we're doing this, but it seems like one of the things of the modern era is like just the inability to pause and just I've played so many games lately where like it's connected to a server and you can't pause, or there's other people and you can't pause, or something's happening and you can't pause, or there's bosses and you can't pause. And I'm like, dude, I just no, I guess I can't do that anymore. Like you gotta like allow for life, So I don't know. Just the thought of like not being able to play unless you had a solid hour is kind of like already kind of a big deterrent in and of itself, So I don't know, man. I mean, it seems like there's kind of some good interesting things, but overall, I don't know, and I'm not feeling this one too hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've got a solid like 6 out of 10 here, I think.
No, we've been hitting that number pretty frequently on this show today, so today is 6 out of 10.
And like I want to like this game, and I support the developers because they seem like great people. I love Ether 1. I just wanted this game to be better than it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you can only do what you can do, and you can play what you can play, and people make what they make, and I mean, honestly, I think half the games that I play are kind of like missed opportunities, or I kind of want them to be more than they are, and I realize making games are really difficult, and they cost money, and et cetera, et cetera. It's one of the most challenging things, but as a person who plays and a person who spends your actual lifespan on some of these, I often think I wish that was better, or I wish that had gone a little further. So. Oh, well, thank you for the full in-depth reports. Hopefully people were not spoiled by that without wanting to be spoiled. And I think I don't have any more questions. I mean, any final thoughts? Are you good to wrap it up?
I don't think I have any final thoughts. I'll try to finish my second playthrough. Maybe if I finish more leads, the game will change or it'll be different in the end. I'm not sure if I'll bring those ideas back to the show because it'll be another spoiler section because obviously I'm not going to talk about the end of the game again after doing the spoiler section. But I don't know. If anything significant changes from my second playthrough, I'll probably come back and talk about it. But if nothing does, then I won't.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess that brings us to the end of the show. Good show. I didn't think we're going to have much to talk about, but in true So Many Games fashion, we ended up filling the time. So I guess good for us, I suppose.
We talked about the Division for like 3 hours. So
I know it kind of just all came out in a rush. I guess we had a lot to say about it. So interesting, because I wouldn't have said that. I would have been like, oh, it's going to be the Division Part 2, and that's it. But boy, we had some feels on that game. So all right. That's it for now, folks. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much for listening. We will be back next week with another episode as usual. In the meantime, please remember you can send us your comments, thoughts, feedback, ideas, anything else that you would like to. sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com. You can also post comments for us at gamecritics.com once the show goes up. We are also on Twitter as a show collectively at SoVideoGames, but you can reach us individually. I'm on Twitter, also Instagram, as my name, BradGallaway, all A's, no O's. Corey, where can people find you on the social media?
I am also on the Twitters and the Instagrams. You can follow me, my first and last name as well. It is Corey Motley, CoreyMotley.
Excellent. And that is it for us this week. Once again, thank you for joining us for yet another episode of So Video Games. And remember, stick around for the banter after the closing music if you are so inclined. But in the meantime, this is bye from Brad.
And bye from Corey. We will see you guys next week.
Cool. All right. Well, here we are once again, a lovely Monday. Things are a little unusual today. Gina came home early because they lost internet at her work. And her entire job is doing stuff online, so she's like, "Oh, coming home early. No reason for me to sit in this office." So she's kicking it in the back, working remotely. So that's kind of nice to have her home. It's a nice treat. And other than that, we were gonna just like chill and I don't know, maybe get some food later. It's been pretty mellow so far today, so I'm down for mellow. How's your day been, dude?
It's been fine, just pretty regular. Although if your wife is home from work right now, I am confused as to why we're recording and not playing The Division right now, Brad.
It's funny you say that because 1 second before we hit record, she's like, "Oh, we should get some Division in." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." As soon as the podcast is over, so she's already on top of it. She's about it today. So
hell yeah,
go kill some dudes, and I'm sure we will get into that in the actual main part of the show. But what do you got? I gotta say, this is the kind of. I'll just say my piece here, and then I'll trade it. I'll trade it to you. I don't know what you will give me in exchange for giving it to you, but I will say my piece first. It's one of those days, I guess. I'm too mellow to podcast.
I'm nervous.
I don't even know what I'm going to say
about what you're going to say.
Nothing. No, I was going to say I got not a lot of banter, dude, because I've been working. Yeah, this is the final week. It is the final week of Romeo and Juliet. We were supposed to do it for 1 month, and then the situation changed. They made it 2 months, so I had to stay for an extra month that I didn't anticipate. But it all worked out fine. This is the final week. This Sunday is the final show, and the show is going to be closing. So after this week, I'm going to get my life back. But up until then, I've been really busy, and I don't have a lot of time to like do anything. I have not played a lot of games, have not watched a lot of TV, have not like done very much. And as we were getting ready for the show today, I was like, oh my God, I have fuck all for banter. I hope Corey's had a good week because I got like nothing. But I am looking forward to getting back in the groove of being home and doing laundry and cooking and cleaning. And it's kind of nice, just kind of satisfying to knock a couple things out and feel like you've done something for the day. And then hopefully I'm going to really try hard to get a little more game time in and just kind of get back in the zone. But I mean, honestly, dude, I was like, I haven't really watched anything that I haven't talked about a million times. I mean, I watched some Orville, I watched some Steven Universe, I watched some, I don't know, Drunk History or something. We've talked about all those in the show, so I don't want to talk about them again. What did I do? I've done nothing else, just work and watch a couple shows and go to bed. So I'm kind of tapped out for banter this week, dude. I feel like I'm letting you down. I mean, you got anything that we can talk about? Maybe we can play off of some topic that has not occurred to me, or I don't know. You got a busy week? You want to report in on something?
I haven't had a terribly busy week, but I have kind of like a really half-assed topic I was thinking about bringing to the show. I'm hoping that this is like one of those things where I'll start telling a story with no real objective, and then like somewhere down the road you'll be like, oh yeah, and you'll be able to just take the torch and give me some input on your experiences or something.
Relay storytelling, I'm all about it.
Well, I kind of want to talk about I don't know, I was thinking about framing this discussion around like consumerism, but I actually don't think that's really the right way to go about it. I could also frame it as like budgeting, but also I don't think that's the right way to go about it. Basically, I would not call myself irresponsible with money. Like I'm pretty like all right with money.
Oh dear, where's this going? I'm getting scared.
No, I just want to talk about like shopping kind of, because I So I have, whenever I was younger, and when I say younger, I mean like 16 to maybe like 22. I didn't realize it at the time, but I owned a lot of clothes for my age, and I still own a lot of clothes, but specifically, I owned a lot of jeans, and I probably had like maybe like 15 pairs of jeans at any given point in my life. And
Wow, that is a lot of jeans, dude.
yeah, I mean, it didn't help that my brother worked for the Gap for a really long time, so I could like get discounts on clothes, and sometimes he would like pass on stuff that he bought, and then I would just kind of take it over because me and my brother were similar sizes for a while. And I always thought it was weird whenever like somebody I met would be like, "Oh yeah, I have like my one pair of jeans," and I'm like, "Your one pair of jeans? Like that's your one pair?" But since I have gotten a little bit older, I have kind of like reverted into that camp because I mean, obviously, I got older, I got a little bit fatter, and I grew out of a lot of my clothes that I used to wear whenever I was like in high school. Because obviously, I'm like nowhere near the same size that I was in high school.
You didn't get fatter. You just filled out like a grown ass man. That's all.
I mean, I guess that's like the body positive way to look at it.
Absolutely, I'm all about it because I am also quite full myself.
So I had a kind of a crisis the other day where I've had a pair of jeans that I've owned for probably about, I don't know, I feel like one of those old men, because whenever I used to work at Target, this would always happen where I would work in the clothing departments, and there would always be that, like, 65-year-old man that would come in, and he'd come to the men's department, and he'd be like, I bought a pair of jeans here, like, 20 years ago. Do you guys still have them? And I'm like, no. Like, we turn our jeans around, like, seasonally. We might have a similar pair, but he'd be like, oh, I have like a pair of Levi, like, I don't know, all the Levi's have numbers, like a Levi, like 217 that I bought like 10 years ago. And I'm like, okay, well, that's probably like not a thing anymore. But I've like kind of turned into that guy because Target has a brand, there's like a subset of Levi's called Denizen, Denizen.
Oh, sure.
That Target carries. And for a while, I remember I worked at Target whenever Denizen rolled out, and I was like, oh, these jeans are kind of lame. Like, it's just like a, kind of a cheap, like, Walmart ass looking brand. And then I bought a pair a while later, maybe like a year later. And something that was kind of being phased into men's clothing at the time was stretch in men's jeans, because women's jeans have been stretchy since the dawn of women's jeans being made. But men's jeans and pants for the longest time had no stretch. So you put them on and basically like, whatever shape they are, that's what shape they are forever. And so, like, if you gain a little bit of weight or if you, like, gain muscle or whatever, like, basically the jeans don't really, like, stretch with you. And I had always wondered for the longest time, like, why hasn't anybody, like, put stretch in men's jeans? And so probably about a decade ago, that became, like, a thing more regularly. So I bought a pair of jeans at Target that I loved, that were Denizen, that kind of stretched, like, all over. And I tend to wear, like, like slim or skinny jeans, just because I like them to be pretty well fitted. And having them stretchy is like perfect because you just like put them on and they like stretch around you, and you button them up and they like stretch around your waist, even if you're gaining a little bit of weight like I have. And so every time they like get a hole in them, because that would be like my one pair of jeans that I would wear like every single day. And of course, if you wear a pair of jeans like every day, eventually they get a hole in them somewhere. Usually for me, it's like under the crotch or like the seam, like kind of where like my ass is, will like split somewhere back there. And I bought a pair of pants at Target a while back that are these like amazing like black sort of like riding jeans that have these cool like stitching on the front that kind of make them look like motorcycle pants. And I wore them all the fucking time, and they ripped in the ass a few weeks ago. And I had to go buy pants, and I don't like want to complain too much about this, but it was kind of an awful experience because like it was kind of like a twofold thing where like I have to buy pants, and I don't buy clothes, or I don't buy pants that often anymore. And because men's clothing has diversified greatly in the past like 10 years, I go to Target and they have so many different like fits and styles. They have like boot cut, they have straight fit, they have slim straight, they have skinny, they have this, they have ones with stretch, they have ones without stretch, they have athletic. So there's like so many different kinds. And like I've understood what women go through whenever they buy clothes for a long time because I used to work in women's clothing off and on whenever I worked at Target. Because with women's clothing, the sizes are way stupider. Like pantses like are 00 to I don't know like 26 or whatever, and they go up in even numbers. With men's clothing, it actually makes sense because you have like a 30 waist and a 30 length, or like a 34, 32 or something. Whereas a women's pair of pants, it's just like a 2 or a 14. And if you go to like 12 different stores and buy a size 10 jeans in women's, they're going to be all over the place in sizing. So I always feel so bad for women because they have to like put up with that bullshit all the time. But I kind of experienced that firsthand the other day because I went to buy jeans at Target and I took like 4 or 5 different styles of pants into the dressing room, and it was like, they were, I think most of them were like, it was like straight fit or slim straight or skinny, and I took like a variety of sizes. Like I took some 32 30s, I took some 33 30s, I think I took one, like, I think it was just 32 30 and 33 30, and like one of them I tried on, and they were like super huge in the waist, and then the other ones I tried on, like I couldn't even button up because they were so like tight on the waist and didn't really have any stretch. And I was like, son of a bitch, like this is so stupid. Like you would think that one size would mean one size, but I don't want to complain too much because like men have it way easier whenever it comes to stuff like this. And so not only did I have to go clothing shopping, the good news is that I found 2 pairs of pants that I liked and that I have them, and now I'm going to wear each of them off and on every day. I'm just going to alternate them until they both get holes in them, and then I have to buy new pants, and I'm going to come back to the show and tell the story all over again. But the other thing I want to talk about here is like budgeting for clothes, because I don't know if you do this, and it doesn't have to be with clothes specifically, but like I'm one of those people where if something costs over like, because I'm such a cheap ass, if something costs over like $30, I'm like, I will put off buying it as long as I possibly can, because I'll be like, oh, it's expensive, like I don't really need a pair of pants that bad, or I'll have like a hole in my shoes and I'll be like, oh God, but shoes are like $60 and that's just so expensive and I just can't bring myself to spend $60 on a pair of shoes, even though they're going to last me like years probably. And so something that I've been doing lately, and I've done this for the past few paychecks because I get paid bi-weekly at my job every other week, and I've decided that if I need, or not necessarily need, but if there's something that like I should buy, like a new pair of pants if I have a hole in my current ones, or a new pair of shoes or something, I basically just have to buy it the weekend that I get paid, because like once I have the money, I need to like spend it on something that matters. Because what I do is I will like scoff at the idea of spending $30 on a pair of pants, and I'll be like, oh, I don't really need pants that bad, and then I'll go spend like $16 on a 4-pack of beer and not think anything of it, even though that beer will be gone in a weekend and the pants will last me years probably. So like I have this weird situation. So like a couple weeks ago I bought 2 new pairs of pants. The weekend that just happened I bought a new pair of shoes that just got here today, as a matter of fact, that I'm really excited about. And I'm also mad about the shoes because I bought a pair of Vans, and I went to like downtown New Orleans to go to a Vans store to buy them because I was thinking about ordering them online, but I was like, you know what, I would rather just go buy them and have them today. So of course I go all the way downtown with Patrick to go to this Vans store. I go in and they like don't have the size I'm after. And I was like, oh God damn it. And the guy's like, oh, well, I can bring out like a 9. And I was like, well, no, I've had Vans. I know this isn't going to work. I'll just order them online. So, thanks, but no thanks. So then I ended up ordering them online anyway. And I'm always faced with like decision paralysis, where if I'm looking at shoes online, there's like 4 or 5 colors I want, and I just like can't decide which ones I want. So like I don't really have like a big objective with the story, but I guess if I had a question to pose to you, like I don't take you as somebody who like shops for clothes like super often. And I actually think we've probably discussed this on the show before, but like whenever it comes to clothes shopping or it comes to money, like how, like, are you similar where like you don't want to spend a lot on stuff, but you'll like spend like a little bit of money a lot of times, or spend frivolously like on food or on something like that? But if it comes to like buying clothes or buying something else, you sort of do the same thing I do, where you just like can't bring yourself to spend like $30 on pants? Or like how do you approach like shopping and getting paid and budgeting in that regard?
So this is kind of a big question, and there's a lot involved in what you've posed to me, so I will try to answer all of the various aspects of this. So like, I mean, what you're describing to me sounds perfectly reasonable and logical, because we all see value in different ways. I'm not a clothes horse. I mean, I don't know if I've even mentioned this before, but when I go to work, I literally wear the same thing every single day. I have a black shirt and black pants. I have multiple black shirts. I have multiple black pants. Like, I am known in Seattle for wearing the same thing every single day. Everybody knows that's my brand. And it's easy because I never have to worry about what I'm wearing, and I wear the same thing. And when the pants wear out, I just go buy the exact same black pair of pants, and I'm good. Like, I don't need to do that. So, I mean, in that respect, like, that's kind of how I roll. But when I do go shopping for myself, yeah, like, I have these kind of, like, mental cutoffs where I'm like, okay, if something costs between $0 and this many dollars, then I think that's a good deal. And if it's over this many dollars, then fuck it, it's way too much. I'm never going to buy that thing. And it, it really varies, depending on thing to thing. And I think for me, so, like, I'll give you a really good example. Like when I was younger, I was often hungry because either we didn't have food, or I didn't have money for food, or I was in a place where there's nothing to eat. And so, like, I get really, like, apprehensive if I get hungry and I either don't have food on me or there's no place to get food, and it, like, makes me really nervous. So I end up eating out probably when I'm working during the day, probably a couple times a week, just because, like, I didn't bring something, or I just want to eat something, and just being hungry makes me really nervous. So I will always be like for me, in my mind, $10 and below, good deal. If I get something that fills me up and I get a lot of food and I eat it and it's fine, as long as it's not gross. $10 and below, good deal. I'll buy any food for less than $10. $11 and above, fuck that. Complete ripoff. I'm not paying that much. Why are they charging so much? I can make this better for myself at home. Fuck you and fuck your restaurant. So, like, that's totally how I roll. It's like, it's just this totally arbitrary limit, and there's no sense to it. I mean, I could have a delicious meal for $11, or I could have, like, a really lame meal for, $9. But something about the $10 limit to me feels like that's the good zone to be in, And the same thing for, like, shoes and clothes or something. I bought some shoes a while ago, and I hate shopping. I hate shopping for anything, any clothes, especially pants. I hate shopping for pants. Number one, because nothing ever fits me, because I guess I have just this weird deformed body where, like, I need, like, a lot of room in the crotch. Not that I'm bragging or anything, but just because, like, just how my hips are set, the way that my legs move, I just need, like, a little extra room in the crotch, because if I don't have the extra room in the crotch, then, like, they ride up all the time, and it's just super, I mean, as a fellow dude, I'm sure you know how uncomfortable it is if your pants are, like, riding up in a way that you don't want them to ride up. It's like, you gotta stop whatever you're doing. You gotta focus on your pants. You gotta fix your pants, because you can't, something's pinching your balls. You can't just go about your day. You gotta, like, fucking fix it, right? So, like, I need all this extra room in the crotch. And again, not a humble brag. I'm just speaking here. But, like, my legs are short compared to how much I need for the crotch. And so, like, I always get these pants where, like, the crotch is where I need it to be, but then the legs are, like, a mile long. I've got 3 feet of, like, pant leg, rolled up at the bottom of my pants. I'm like, I gotta, like, get these hemmed or something. I gotta fix them because they're way too long. But then when I buy some that are good for my legs, then it's like my balls are fucking, like, inside my body because they're shoved up so far. So really fucking difficult. So I hate shopping for pants. Also, I just don't like taking my pants off in a store. Like, it's like a hassle. Take my fucking shoes off. You got to unlace the shoes. You got to tie them up again. It's a waste of fucking time. And then you take the pants off and you're just sitting there in your underwear, and it's just like, I hate it. I hate it. So I hate doing the pants, but it's like, I'll go to a store and it'll be like $32 for a pair of slacks or something. I'm like, God damn it, these are so expensive. How does anybody ever fucking pay for anything in America? Like, what is even going on? Fucking capitalism, and it's ruining the country and all this shit. But then, it'll be like $22. I'm like, oh yeah, good deal. I'm gonna get like 3 of these, But like $32, I'm walking out of the store and I want to talk to the manager because I'm fucking mad, It's like, the thing that really gets me, well, okay, so, like, backing up a little bit, like, budgeting, like, in general, budgeting is really tough, and I had a hard time with it for a long time, because my mom and dad didn't know anything about money. They had no money sense. They were constantly running out of money, had no investments, didn't really own anything, like, just blowing money left and right. I mean, my mom tried to save a little bit of money, but was not really very successful at it, but at least it crossed her mind once in a while. My dad was, like, totally, like, had no concept of saving money or spending wisely or anything. So, like, I didn't have that example to follow, and so I was kind of left to my own devices about how I was going to manage my money and what I was going to do and so forth and so on. And I was, I mean, I think I had more of a sense of it than they did, but I still wasn't anywhere near where it needed to be. And so I got into trouble for a while, and then, once I finally got myself out of trouble financially, I started to really look at my budget. And then when I got married to Gina, I think she had some casual spending as well. And with our jobs, I mean, interpreting is a job where you are very prone to overspend because of how the job works. So like what happens is, and just like as a generalization, you work a lot, and then you are usually an independent contractor or a sole proprietor, so you don't have a boss above you. So you're responsible for taking out your own taxes, which actually takes a lot of discipline. And so you work a lot, you get paid, and then when you get paid like once every 90 days or sometimes once every 2 months. And so like you starve yourself for like 2 months, like, oh, I can't eat out, I can't buy anything, I can't do anything until I get paid. And then when you finally get paid, it's like this huge like 2 months worth of checks that comes in. And so you're like, oh, I'm rich. And so like that kind of a life, that kind of financial schedule really, it doesn't matter who you are, unless you are like ironclad disciplined from the beginning. Everybody falls into the same trap of like spending too much when they get paid and not putting enough money away for taxes. And then when tax time rolls around, you're hating yourself because you owe. And then you just don't think about it. And you just think about, well, I'm just going to get paid the next time rather than saving the money that I have now. It's fine. I'll just get paid again and it'll be a big check because I won't get paid until like March or something. And then I'll be fine. And so like it really fucks with your head. And it took us a long time, because Gina's an interpreter too, to break out of that cycle. But we did. We had to really like sit down, talk about what we wanted to buy, what was important to us. We had to like write this. We have this big whiteboard in our kitchen that tells us about like what we're spending every month. Like every day or every other day, I go through the receipts of like everything that we've spent, and I cross-check that with our bank account to make sure that nothing weird's going on. And like we talk about like, oh, okay, well, we've spent $100 this quarter on eating out. That means we've got X amount of dollars left. And so watch, eat out if you need to eat out, but like be aware of like there's a limit, and then if we hit the limit, then we got to stop. And then so there's a lot of discipline involved in it, but it really has paid off. And I think that it kind of gives more value to what it is that we do spend money on. So like when I do buy a game, for example, I'll try to get on sale. I mean, it's pretty rare that I buy a game for full on like $60, like full price. But when I do, I'm really cognizant of like, okay, I'm really consciously choosing that this is where I want to spend my money on, and this is something that's going to be worth it to me. And if I get this thing, then I'm not going to buy these other things. And so we're really, really cautious about that. But again, it all comes down to personal values, because I know so many people who are like, oh, I'm broke and I don't have money for this, and I'm just whatever, and then come to find out they've been going to the bar with their friends every night and getting like 3 and 4 and 5 drinks and stuff. And it's like, well, you're not broke. I mean, you chose to spend $225 on drinks last night, and you're probably going to do it again tonight. So you're not broke. You just simply think that you're quote unquote broke when it comes to like paying your electric bill, or like buying something boring, like, gassing up your car or getting some pens for your desk or something. But when it's out with your boys or out with your girls and you're drinking, that's fine. And you got the money for that. So, I mean, for me, and it's funny because like alcohol to me is something I despise the idea of spending money on. Number one, because I don't drink. And so like it has no value to me whatsoever. But like when I see how much money drinks are, maybe they're cheaper like in Louisiana. I don't know what they are, but like it's super common to go to a bar out here. A drink is like $10, $12, $15, like easy, just like any drink. And so whenever people are like, oh, we're going to get drinks, and I'm like, I'm not. You can get whatever drink you want. I'm having water. Fuck you. Like, and it's just, that's the thing that kind of gets on my skin, is like paying for alcohol. But pants also gets me. Shoes also I mean, anything gets me. The only thing I like to spend money on is food that's less than $10 when I'm hungry, and games that are on sale on the Nintendo eShop that are usually like 99 cents. And I'll buy those like all day long. Anything else, I'm like, no, I'm not paying it. Not paying it. So can you relate?
I mean, partially. I have the problem where I spend money on alcohol.
You're the booze guy. Yeah. I know you're the booze guy.
And I try to chalk that up a little bit to the fact that, like, I didn't start drinking until I was, like, 23. So, like, all the years when because, like, people nowadays, I mean, I guess people start drinking, like, pretty young. Like, I knew people in high school that were, like, 15 and were drinking. And so, like, all those years from, like, 15 to, like, 21, or I guess all the way up to 23, that, like, I wasn't spending money on alcohol. I could just, like, pretend that, oh, like, now it's my time to make up all that lost time and spend extra money on alcohol, which is, it's not a real excuse. It's actually a terrible thing to say, but that's just what I tell myself to make myself feel better. But there's, like, sort of this idea of, like, spending, and I'm not saying alcohol is this, but like spending money on like luxury items. And I don't know, I sort of feel like, or like spending money on something because there's like the experience of having it, not just like, a utilitarian thing that you buy. And I sort of feel like alcohol can sometimes fall into that. I mean, that's why you have like, bottles of whiskey that are like $500 that have been aged for, 55 years or whatever, which I would never, just to be clear, I would never, ever, ever spend that money on that kind of alcohol. Usually if I buy whiskey, I try to go to Trader Joe's because they have whiskey for $15 and it is good, and that is perfect to get me by. But I mean, and also like whenever I talk about, buying like makeup and skincare, I mean, there's kind of like an idea of, I mean, obviously makeup is not like a necessity at all. And I don't wear makeup every day, but there's like an idea of like having it for like the experience of like owning it and putting it on and like the ritual kind of surrounding it. And I would say the same thing about skincare, but skincare is actually like, it's like scientific, like, sort of like skincare for your face is kind of like going to the gym for your body. Like, it takes, you like have to put money and you have to put work and you have to research it and you have to like use it for a long amount of time in order for like the benefits to, set in, because skincare isn't something where you like put an eye cream on for a week and then suddenly your eyes are like, you have no more dark circles or anything. Like you have to use it for a long time. So like ordinarily I would lump skincare into that sort of like, well, I mean, I guess it's kind of a ritual, but I mean, on the flip side, like you have cheap stuff, then you have expensive stuff. Like you can obviously buy like a moisturizer that's $3 at Target, or you can go to Sephora and buy a moisturizer that's like $65, and it probably has less in the container or something. So it just depends on how luxurious you want to get with like your cosmetics and skincare and everything.
No, dude, I totally hear you. Like there are certain things where I think, okay, so we're only alive once. I don't believe like in heaven or the afterlife or any of that shit. So it's like we're here once. Enjoy your time. So if you want to have the slice of bacon, have the slice of bacon. If you want to, don't eat yourself in a grave, or don't go crazy. But I don't want to sound like one of those guys who's like denies myself everything because it's too much money or anything. And I hear what you're saying. Like certain things are worth spending the money on when you know that you like them. They make you feel good, and it kind of like just increases your quality of life by one notch. Like that's totally justified. As you were telling that story about that, I was about the Sephora and stuff. I'm like, oh, actually, that's true. I do. You're gonna think I'm like the stupidest guy on earth for saying this, but like I have like two things that I just like I'm very picky about. So like I wear glasses, as you know, and I need my glasses to be like super clean when I wear them. I cannot stand like streaks on my glasses. It's really distracting. Bothers me if I go somewhere. Like all I can think about is like seeing the smudge on my glasses, and I can't get it off. So I need my glasses to be really clean, right? And so like I find that like only name brand Windex is the only thing that I will use. And I know it's like $1 or $2 more. Still, a low price item, but still it's like, there's all sorts of cheap, whatever grocery store, their in-house brand or the Target brand or whatever that you can get for like 99 cents or something like that. But I'm like, no, like I will spend extra on specifically Windex because I know that it gets my glasses cleaner, and having clean glasses makes my life better, and it makes me like a better person, and I feel better and more relaxed. Similarly, this is really the killer right here. This is the killer. I'm very particular, and we're going deep. We're going deep in banter today. We're learning all sorts of things about each other. We're going to be very close. Our listeners are going to know us so well.
Well, and here we thought we were going to have nothing to talk about, and look where we're going now.
I know. You can't shut us up. So it's classic banter. Here's the thing, though. The thing that I absolutely 100% will not budge on. I don't care how much it costs. I will pay whatever the price is, because I need to have clean ears, and I like the way that cotton is wrapped around Q-tips, specifically name brand Q-tips. Something about the way they wrap their cotton on when you put it in your ear. Nothing is fucking worse than putting a Q-tip in your ear, or a cheaper like off-brand Q-tip. You put that thing in your ear, and either the stick is too pokey, or it's too flexible, or the cotton like balloons up in your ear and it just fills your ear canal and just like spirals all over the place and you can't really like clean your ear. You must have actual name brand Q-tips. And it doesn't matter to me what the cost is, but I will buy the biggest fucking box. I'll get like the 950 pack, and I will buy that one for whatever. I don't care if it's not on sale. I will buy it, and I don't need a coupon or anything. I will just get that thing, and I'm like, yes, this is the thing that I need to live my life in the way that God intended it. And we're just moving forward with the Q-tip. So I hear you about the small luxuries that make your life better, and I totally agree. I do not buy makeup, but I do buy fancy Q-tips, and I do buy the name brand Windex. So small things, it can be small things, but take your comforts where you find them, right?
I thought for sure when you started both of those stories, especially with the glasses ones, that you were going to be like, okay, I have to have like the certain kind of glasses. They have to be clean. They have to be streak free. I thought you were leading up to say that you were going to say something like, so every time I buy new glasses, I spend an extra like $300 to get these special lenses, you know, or like these protective lenses or whatever. But no, you spend the extra like $2 to get Windex instead of like the $2 like best choice like off-brand Windex. And then you started talking about your ears. I didn't really know where you were going with the ear thing. And then you started talking about Q-tips, which are like $5 at the store.
I'm worth it though, dude. I'm worth it. Like, I don't regret that at all. It may be a couple bucks extra, but I don't feel guilty.
Oh my God. One of these days, maybe like the next time I go to Sephora or Ulta or something, I'll see if there's like, because you know it's going to be out there. There's going to be like a luxury brand of cotton buds or something that'll be like Q-tips, but they'll be like $75 for a box of 50 or something. And maybe I'll see if that exists and either send you a picture, or if I'm feeling really nice, I'll like buy a travel size kit and ship it to you.
I will try them. Like, I'm open to trying them, but I gotta say, I have not found a cotton swab ear canal cleaner better. And I've tried a lot, dude. I've tried a lot. But I tell you what, man, I'm so firm on this that if I buy a full box of like an off brand and I put them in my ear and like it doesn't feel right, I will throw that fucking box away. I will not use them up first. I'd be like, fuck it, set them on fire and throw them away. I do not tolerate that. So if you find a good one, I'll try it. But I don't know that you're going to replace my favorite, man. I don't know.
This is the most absurd discussion.
This is what happens when it's a slow banter week, folks.
We talk about buying pants and how annoying it is, and overspending for, spending like $10 on 1,000 Q-tip box.
So worth it, though. So worth it.
We cannot be tamed.
I have literally nothing else to talk about unless you got something else. I mean, that kind of led us down a deep rabbit hole there. You got something else you want to maybe see sticks to the wall?
I don't really think so. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot of exciting stuff over the past week. We talked about Captain Marvel last week. I shot cosplay at a Comic-Con a few weeks ago, which, I mean, there's not really a story there other than it was fun, and I got to hang out with people that I don't get to see often, and I don't know. I have some, like, tea to spill, but it cannot be spilled while we're recording on the show, to tell you.
Ooh,
so,
okay.
So
I'll
tell you.
We'll do that when we
stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But I think that's it.
Yeah, I got nothing else, man. It's been kind of a slow week. That's all right. I mean, I think once I actually get some fucking free time, I'll actually do something that I can actually talk about. But I mean, I feel like all the topics I could talk about, I have gone over so many times that I would feel bad to talk about it one more time. So let's wrap it now. Let's just talk about games, and we'll see where that takes us. How about that?
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right, let's talk about some games.